Okay, the title of this video is gonna be called Dealing with Loneliness. A lot of people struggle with this. I struggle with this a lot. And loneliness is something that we all dealt with at some point of our lives. But particularly if you're someone like me who is, if you watch my older videos, you know that I'm on the spectrum. You know, I'm on the spectrum, and me being on special needs and whatnot, and me being a person and me being a person who gave his life to the Lord at such a young age. I dealt with a lot of loneliness, especially in my teenage years, especially in my adolescence. So it was very difficult. It was very difficult to find people who I could, could relate to, who I could really talk to, because, as much as because I know that a lot of people who feel lonely, they feel like a lot of people who are lonely. A lot of times they can't talk to nobody, and it's like we see this a lot in a lot of our, a lot of people lives, particularly and black people. And because like when I just look at a lot of black families are very separated, very divided. One person living in this state, another person living in this part of the country, another person in that part of the country, and then they just can't get along with each other. And then there's always and they just can't reach out to each other like that. So having that being said, with me, I dealt with loneliness a lot. And a lot of times when you're lonely, you feel like you feel like you feel like you can't talk to nobody, in your family or anybody in or a person, you feel like you can't trust nobody. And with me, I felt like YouTube was an outlet for me. YouTube was like I always watch YouTube. I watch YouTube like just every day of my life, pretty much. I'm on YouTube, so YouTube's always been a scapegoat for me. It was always a scapegoat for me, and I always find people who are dealing with the same struggles as I am. I find people with the same, situations I am. Like YouTube has been like Roberta Blake says, YouTube is a place where you find people who are just as crazy and stupid and passionate about something as you are. And like that's what YouTube has been for me, because like I feel like, man, like these are people who I could talk to. Like, of course, I'm not saying you should be, you should tell your business on the internet, but like when you're on YouTube, it's like, man, I get where you're coming from, like I know where you're coming from, it's like that. And for me, that's what YouTube was for me. It was like, man, I get where you're coming from. Like I understand where you came. I understand your situation, and that's what YouTube did for me. It helped. It gave me a voice, gave me a platform that I wouldn't otherwise have if it wasn't for YouTube. Because I live in a small town. I don't have, the connections necessarily. I mean, I have connections, but I don't have them, in my reach. Because, I don't have a driver's license and whatnot. And then I had to pay, I had to, drive, and I had to, spend money and stuff like that. And I'm not saying that I don't mind doing that, but I'm saying that with YouTube, I could create my own platform, gain subscribers, get views, and what have you, and then voila, I can have big breaks. That's how so many YouTubers get big breaks, because they was able to say they was able to use their talents and upload videos at a consistent rate to the point where somebody behind closed doors is discovering them. And like I'm gonna talk about a video I saw just a few minutes ago about next in another video, next video probably. But like, anywho, getting a little off topic. Or loneliness, when you loneliness, You just want somebody to talk to. You just want somebody who understands. I mean, a lot of times we could be too hard on you could be too hard on people. We could be just like, oh man, it'll get better. Oh, quit worrying about it. Oh, you just ungrateful. Like, it's like, and then sometimes, and you feel you just ungrateful, and like, and that's why it was so hard for me to open up to that's why it was so hard for me to open up to a lot of people, because that's why it's so hard to open up to a lot of people, because that's what I'll get. That's what I get when I talk about my issues I deal with at school, or or issues I deal with, personally, or internally or externally. It was always like, oh, things will get better. Oh, quit complaining, quit worrying about it. And like, but like no like real solution, just like, quit worrying about it. It's like, oh, things get better. You always give you like cliches, but I don't give you like no help. And like, that's why I felt for so long I felt isolated. So long I felt like nobody understood me, because again, me being special needs, and me being a Christian, me being a teenager, like, I just felt like I was misunderstood. And like, if I talk to people about my issues, they would like, oh, I don't care, or oh, you know, suck it up. And like, I mean, I understand that, I understand you need to take responsibility. I understand that. I completely get that. You need to take responsibility for your own actions. I completely get that. I'm all for, doing it yourself when nobody else can do it for you. I'm all about that. But at the same time, it's like, you gotta give them the tools first, then you help them. Like, for me, for instance, if I haven't used like Camify, for example, this is how I upload videos to YouTube. This is how I'm able to have so many videos uploaded in one day, because of Camify. If it was for Camify, I would still be have videos 4x3 on my cell phone. I'll still have to, I'll have to keep deleting videos and keep deleting pictures and things that, I really want to keep. But because of my memory card limitations, I can't keep all those photos and videos like that. So I keep deleting photos, videos, pictures, stuff like that, in order to upload videos to YouTube. But with Camify, I have the tool now to upload videos, and that's because I was given the tools. I was given the resources. Like, once I had the resources, now it's up to me to use them. So like, for instance, if somebody's going through like depression, or something like that, you say get over it, but like, you're not giving the tools to help them get over it. You're just saying, get over it, or ain't that serious, like, you're not giving the tools and resources you can to help them. I mean, not everybody needs a clinician, granted, but like, you gotta give them an outlet. You gotta give them an option. I give them an option. You gotta give them an outlet. You can't just be like, oh, suck it up, and then they go home feeling sorry for themselves. Like, it's not gonna make them feel less sorry for themselves. I mean, they might hold it in, but they're still gonna feel like a wall. They're gonna have walls built up in front of them, because like, you not being understanding. You're just being hard on them, and you giving them harsh words. And it's like nothing. Like, there are tons of place for, there's a time and place for, telling people the truth, telling people the hard truth. But when somebody's hurting, you gotta comfort them, and then you gotta give them the tools, and then it's up to them to want to change. It's up to them to want to do better. That's how I look at it. So if you want somebody to change, their life, you gotta give them the tools first, and then you give them you gotta give them the tools first, and then it's up to them to decide, are they gonna improve, or are they just gonna get better? Are they gonna get better or better? That's how I look at it. So with that being said, with people like with suicidal people, that's another population that gets scrutinized a lot. People who are suicidal, people who have attempted suicide, a lot of them go through suicide because of past mistakes, because of childhood trauma stigmatization. Like a lot of them go through a lot of them, because of getting abused physically, mentally, emotionally, sexually. Like those people get scrutinized a lot, especially by church people, church folks. I mean, and that's and that's another thing, with church people. Church people are some of the most judgmental people on the face of this earth, and I can say that with a straight face. So, I love the church, I love Jesus, I love God, but that's just the truth. And what people who commit suicide, for instance, they're, I mean, of course, I mean, a lot of people who commit suicide, I mean, it's not 9 times out of 10 it's not because 9 times out of 10 it's because of emotional issue. It's not always because, oh, this person is stupid or it's because this is dumb. It's because of hey, nobody understands me, nobody wants to help me. I'm just being told, get over it, or I'm just being told to oh, things gonna get better. Like nobody's like, nobody's like helping me, nobody's giving me like actual resources. And that's why so many people miss out. That's why so many people get depressed. That's why so many people get discouraged. That's why so many people, feel like nobody understands them because they're not being helped. So that's why I do these videos, because that's why I'm on YouTube, because so many like because if someone would have told me these things back when I was 14 and 15 years old, like somebody like in my life, personal life, would tell me these things and gave me the actual help, I would have been a lot further in my life. I would have been a lot further with my spoken word career. I'd have been a lot further in my YouTube career. I wouldn't have made the mistakes I made. I made so many mistakes because of some of the biggest mistakes was made because of I felt like the only way I could let it out is either through paper, it's through the internet, and that's what ultimately messed me up. So yeah, so parents, if you don't want your kids to be on Instagram talking to strangers, you gotta give them, you gotta give them options. You gotta give them like better alternatives, better solutions, because like, let's face it, we in that generation now where Instagram and Snapchat rules the world now. I mean, kids are gonna do what they want to do regardless, but you guys gotta be smart about it and say, okay, all right, I got like who this person, who's that person, yada yada yada, and like and give them options. Like, I mean, I know when you're a parent, you have to be protective of your children, because you don't want your children getting kidnapped or raped or anything crazy like that. I understand that completely, but well, I don't understand completely, but I'm saying that I understand what from my experience being a child with special needs. I understand like why parents gotta go hard for their children because of how evil the world is. I understand that, but you need to give your children an alternative to say, okay, here's a better way to express yourself. Like, hey, this is an outlet for you. It's safe. I could trust you. I could trust. It's safe. It's trusted. It's not. I feel safe around you. The people are. The people fit up right your alley. For instance, if a child's into well, let me just use my example for me, poetry. Like poetry. I'm into poetry. I'm in spoken word. Check out my playlist. I have like 8 videos doing a poem and what have you. So poetry. If a child's into poetry, you gotta get him. You gotta get him around people who are poets. You gotta get him in a spoken word environment. Take him to open mics. Take him to poetry readings. Take him to the library. Take him to places where they can enhance their gift, and not just tell them to, oh, don't and not just tell them to don't do your gift. I mean, don't pursue your gift above your education, something like that. Well, what I'm trying to say is that don't just tell them to just say, don't let your gift be a distraction to your education. Don't just tell them that, oh, education is important, so you need to focus on your grades first, and then worry about your gift. Like, okay, like most people, like, I mean, most children know how important education is. I mean, even though they may not take schools as serious, but most children know that getting education is important to some degree. But with artists, and with artists, with people who are into music um and dancing and spoken word, like we don't really have an outlet, and a lot of times, or somebody who's into painting or drawing, we don't really have an outlet. So a lot of times we feel like we isolate. A lot of times we have to write those. A lot of emo kids, especially, they feel like they write depressing poems because they feel like nobody gets them, nobody understands them. They feel like misfits. They get bullied in school. Their family life is dysfunctional, and like so they write these poems that are like emo, and like you're not providing them in an environment to help express themselves in a more positive way. And that's why so many creatives struggle, and that's why so many creatives feel left out, because nobody want to take time to listen to them and and advocate for them, advocate their gifts. It's not just about, taking them to like one show or one art gallery or one open mic. It's about them give them creating a community around give them mentors who are experts in their field. You may not know nothing about poetry or painting or music. You may not know nothing about any of those things, but you know people who know those things. You will give them mentors. You give them guidance. You will give them people who say, hey, I know this person. He's an expert in your field. He been where you are. You should talk to him, and he'll give you advice. Like, that's what you need to do that's what you need to do as a parent. I'm not trying to be too hard on you parents, because I get the fact that you want your children to be successful, you want your children to have an education. I totally understand that. I'm in college right now. I'm trying to get my education. I want to graduate from college. I'm about to get my associate's degree soon. So I understand the importance of education. Believe me, I do. I wrote a poem called Educated Brother to explain the importance of education. So I'm not against education at all, but I'm saying that if you want your child to be happy and you want your child to be successful, you gotta pay attention to what they're good at and what they're obsessed with, and then you gotta make sure that you advocate for that child's gifts. My sister, for example, her daughter loves music. Her daughter loves singing. She plays piano, and guess what she does? She takes her to piano school. She paid for her lessons, and now her daughter's like, well, her daughter's like, her daughter is now performing at churches, I mean, stuff like that. Like, that's why you need to advocate you gotta advocate your child's gift. So that's why I'm you know and I lost train of thought, sorry. But anywho, advocate for your child. That's what I'm saying. Advocate for your child. If you're a parent watching this, or if your guardian, your grandparent, your uncle, your niece, your aunt, like, advocate for your child, but also, not just, I mean, advocate your child. I mean, a lot of parents, we do a good job advocate. I can't say we, I'm not even the parent, but like parents, parents, a lot of parents, especially suburban parents, soccer moms, do a good job advocating their child when it comes to like school and grades. And, take away the TV and take away the cell phone whenever the child gets bad grades, or go to parent teacher conferences and all that jazz. Like a lot of parents do a good job. I know my mom was very involved in my school. She was like very involved. With me and my brother. When it came to school, like she made sure that we had good grades. So like my mom, never had. My mom always went to parents' teacher conferences. She always went to board education meetings. Like my mom was an advocate for us, and like I appreciate that. You know, but parents, do a good job doing that. But when it comes to like gifts, we a lot of times we shun our children, we shun the children, I keep saying our children, Jesus, we shun children for pursuing a gift that's a little different, that's a little odd, that's a little weird, like like being a magician, like, because we focus so much on the money aspect of it, to where we forget that if we can make, like, your talent could make room for you. Like when hip hop first started, rappers weren't making that much money, but now you could be, if you're a good rapper plus a good businessman plus a good entrepreneur, you could make a billion dollars. You could be a billionaire. I mean, but when hip hop started 40 years ago, you had parents that saying you shouldn't rap, you should pursue an education, you should DJ. I mean, it had those pioneers, it had those pioneers listed parents, hip hop want to be what it is today. And and that's why I feel that if you're talented, you'll make money. You'll make money regardless. I mean, if the only way you could be a star and artist is that if you don't know how to use your gifts, if you don't know how to present yourself, if you're hide your talent, you're not performing nowhere, you're not posting anything on YouTube, you're not networking, like then you're a starting artist. But like if you're talented, you use your talents, you know how to monetize, yourself, and then you eventually make some money over it. So that's why it's important to know what you're good at, and use it to the best of your ability. And I'm not just talking to parents, I'm talking to anybody who's has a talent or has a dream. Be smart about it. I mean, be passionate about it, and be pragmatic about it. And be passionate about it and be pragmatic about it. So like if you wanna be a singer, you gotta practice first. You gotta practice. Sing. Different songs. Sing, learn your style. Know what you're good at singing. Like if you sing R&B, or you sing gospel, you sing pop or neo soul. Know your lane, and then run through it, and then just rush through it. And just like know your lane and just go for it. Like when you're driving a car, when you're driving a highway, and I'm using a lot of analogies, but when you're in this, you gotta know what exit to take, and then you gotta stay on that exit until you get to your destination. That's the same way it is with finding your lane, finding your talent. You gotta know what you're good at, and then you gotta just ride along with it, and just ride it. That's what you gotta do. So I know I said a lot, but I just want to do this video because because young people, like, loneliness is such a big problem with a lot of young people. This is a generation of loneliness. My sociology teacher said that this is the highest rate of loneliness ever. Despite that we have so many options with communication. We have Facebook, we have Twitter, we have social media. Despite all of that, it's the highest rate of loneliness. And I can see why, because a lot of times you don't feel that connection. Like, there's something special about face-to-face communication. Like, even though there is something special about face-to-face communication, and that's why I felt so lonely for so long, because I felt like I couldn't really connect with nobody. I felt like the only way I could, like, I felt like, I had what you call associates, people who I hung out with, because I was always around my bros. I was always around my brother, a lot. I was always around my older cousin. I was always around my family a lot. So I had, people who I hung out with, because I was around them a lot. But, but when it comes to like being open and plus being like telling people like my, personal struggles, it was always like, oh, don't tell your business, or oh, I can't trust you. It was always that insecurity, or it was always just walls around me. It was just always, it was always walls, and like it was hard to be vulnerable because like everybody just so walled up, and just everybody just so don't tell me your business. I don't care. We just so individualistic to where it's like, man, like, bruh, can you help a brother out? And like with me, when you're lonely, a lot of times you end up making mistakes. You end up doing things. You end up doing yeah. If you're lonely, if you don't have nobody to talk to, a lot of times you end up making a lot of bad choices, and like and that was me. I said a lot of things on social media that I regret saying, and like it really got hurt, and it really almost damaged my family. So like I said a lot of things that hurt, almost damaged my family. So like I know it's like, and like I know, like, and thing is, like I know, like, even though that I was always, not posting on social media is was always taught to me, because online safety is such like a big deal. When I was growing up, even when I was a kid, it was like when you're young and when you're a teenager, you're very impressionable, and like when you feel like you have no outlet, you'll get you'll make wrong decisions even if you know better. Like if you could tell a child not to steal, you could tell a child not to do drugs, but like if a child but what if a child's all but when your child's all around 40 around with is drug dealers, or they around is people who smoke, they're gonna eventually start smoking. So like that's why you gotta that's why you gotta find the right people. That's why you gotta be around people who are just as crazy, passionate, stupid about something as you are. Because if you don't, you'll get discouraged, you'll get defeated, and you'll get lonely. And like that, and that's such a hard, and not just such, man, words cannot describe, and not just such a hard feeling, man. You just feel so lonely, like you just go through so much. So to deal with loneliness, if you feel like, talk to somebody talk to somebody who you close to. Like if you have a friend, or like you need a lot of things. Like there's some things you could tell your parents about, but there's some things you're not gonna want to tell your parents. So yeah, I understand that. So that's why you need to find you know good you need to find like a family member who was like who is like a parent, but also like a friend, kind of like an uncle or auntie, or older cousin, or what have you. Somebody who will give you sound advice, but also it's not going to give you, also not going to give you stress you out about it. Also not going to stress you out about it. So that's why I need a village, because it takes a village to raise a child, and that is so true. You need alternatives, because so like when you tell your parents, and they'll probably be mad still, but it won't be like, oh, the parents will, it won't be like, oh, why you didn't tell me, or oh, you this, you that, like it'll be more balanced. But like if you feel like you can't talk to anybody in your family, find that person in school who you can talk to. Find that person who you like really cool with. But like but with friends, a lot of times, because friend, you're with friends, a lot of times, they're not gonna give you the best advice. They're not gonna give you the best advice, because they're not gonna give you less advice unless you. A lot of times, not gonna give you the best advice, because because when you're young, you're still impressionable. Your brain has to fully develop. But at the same time, you could talk to your friend, and then if a friend is like, if your friend is like a really good friend, like, like you're close, y'all know each other, what, this amount of time, this X amount of time, and and that friend really cares about you. He really cares about your well-being. He'll find like alternative. He'll find that solution. He'll find people. If if he or she doesn't have the answer, like he or she will find somebody who has the answer. So that's why having a friend is important. And in high school, I didn't really have friends, so like that was another reason why I use social media, because with social media, again, with particularly YouTube, I could find people who I could relate to, and like that was something that I couldn't get in my town, and in my area. So if you don't, so wait, so like if you're like a person who doesn't have friends, you know, then you need, if you're a person who doesn't have friends, doesn't have, doesn't, you just have, you just, be around people, or you're just isolated, you know, I don't want to suggest telling you business on social media, but at the same time, I'll say, find people, somebody who is crazy, stupid, passionate, somebody who sits as crazy, stupid, passionate as you are, about a certain thing, about something, and like talk to them, and talk to them, and so let's, like, so you could use the internet, like you can use YouTube and YouTube and stuff like that, but be smart about it. Like don't like how I got in trouble was that YouTube and Google Plus, had this integration. Like if it was on YouTube, like back in 2013, YouTube and Google Plus, where it came integrated. So like you had to have a Google Plus account to have a YouTube account. So like I said something, like I made a comment on YouTube. This was 2 years ago. So and I had to delete. It was so. It was just me venting about my life, about just like me just not feeling like I wasn't going anywhere, and then I vented, and then next thing you know, like a couple weeks later, my mom found out about it, and then well, my cousin found out about it, and my mom found out about it, and I was just so much trouble that day. Like it was one of the most darkest moments of my life. Because I'm like, man, how I go that low? How did I stoop so low to where I said those things? And like it really got there. It was just like, man, and like so like, man, I'm just lost the words right now, but it really got there, and like it really got there, and I ended up having to delete my YouTube account, and I deleted my Google account, and I had to start a whole new channel. So like so like even though I had to start a whole new YouTube account, a whole Google account. So because the only way I have a YouTube channel is through Google, and I was thank God I don't have it, thank God I don't need it no more. I still have it. I still use my, like, this channel is my school's Google account, so I still have a Google Plus account, but I made it to where like it could be anybody. I made it to where my face is not showing. I put a microphone as my icon, so, and then it's like Sonya Mary Walker's on YouTube, so like nobody would know it was me. But now that I'm more wiser, now that I'm more mature, and I know I'm more careful what I say on the internet. I mean, I still say stuff on the internet, but I say it out of transparency and honesty, as a means to help other people, and not just to say it. I still make mistakes. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm still human. I'm still young, but I know better because I made those mistakes early on. So, with the internet, if you had like literally nobody to talk to, nobody who you feel like no you could trust, you know, I mean, you could use the internet, but I would suggest, but I would suggest, again, finding people who, you know, but I would suggest not telling. I would suggest like PMing people, inboxing people, or what have you, or inboxing people or what have you, or do it in a way that you know, or inboxing people like there's a YouTube channel I watch called the Track Stars. And the Track Stars they talk about a lot about they do this thing called Noteworthy. So Noteworthy is a session, a part of the show where they where an anonymous person could vent about their feelings and whatnot, and without nobody getting, so that way nobody can get in trouble, or nobody can like their parents won't get in trouble. So like if you want to do a YouTube channel, if you're going to talk to someone on YouTube, make sure that you create accounts where your parents or anybody who you stay with won't know it's you. And if you want to vent it or something like that, make sure you make a YouTube channel like nobody knows you, or an account, or any account like that where nobody knows you, and talk about how you feel, but try not to be too negative, try not to be too too negative, but like just oh man, when I say too negative, I mean like try not to be too. I mean like unless your parents like are really abusive, but like if you have parents that just they love you but they just don't understand you, then try to like be smart about that, and not put your name, put your business put all your business out there. Pretty much, that's what I'm trying to say. So anywho, with that being said, I know I rambled quite a bit. This is like my second longest video on this channel, but with all that being said, if you feel like you can't talk to anybody, your family members, or anybody in school, you can talk to me, and you can talk to me, and if you get, you can talk to me, I'll make sure that you can talk to me. That's not to say that I'm gonna always have the right things to say. That's not to say that I'm always gonna have, that I'm gonna necessarily change your life per se, but I'll make sure that I'll give you good godly advice, so that I'll give you something that your parent, like okay, that your parents will agree with, if depending on what type of parents you have, of course, but like that your parents will be proud of. I'll make sure that you'll get good advice, but also you'll get the right tools you need to overcome your obstacle. So like if I'm not an expert in what you're dealing with, I'll try to find somebody who is, and I can help you deal with your situation. So that's what networking can do. Networking can, okay, I may not be an expert in this area, but I know somebody who is, and like that's why I started this YouTube channel, because so I can network, so I can connect with people, and like connect with other artists, other poets, other YouTubers, and then that nature. I could network, and I could put my name out there, and that was so like when I travel, when I go places, people already know who I am. I already have a fan base. So like that's the thing, that I'm using YouTube as a way to market myself, and that's why I use my first and last name. Not because I want to, not because I'm stupid, or because I know that my goals for the channel. I know that when I started the channel, my first video was the channel. I see that I'm a new upcoming artist, and I'm putting myself on YouTube to put my town, my city on the map. So that's what I'm doing with YouTube. I'm helping put myself on the map and also putting my area on the map. So with that being said, if you like, with loneliness, it's a struggle. I get it. I understand. You know, but you could, if you feel like you had nobody to talk to, just inbox me on. You could talk to me on YouTube. If you feel like what you're gonna say is like very personal, then inbox me on. I have Instagram, I have Snapchat, I have those things. You can inbox me. PM, I don't know how the PM system works, or just PM me. I don't know if you still do that on YouTube. I know you used to do it. I know YouTube used to do it back in the day, but if you feel like you can't, if you feel like what shit is for the person and you don't get in trouble, if your parents find out, DM me and I'll give you the best advice, so that way when your parents find out, they'll be like, okay, they'll understand. So with that being said, that's this video, and sign out.